Yes, guys, welcome back to the United Stand. I'm Saga. The Thiago transfer saga begins now. That's according to Fabrizio Romano, who came out last night and announced the Havertz to Chelsea deal, in the comments, where he announced also that the Thiago transfer saga begins now. I'm very excited to see what happens with this. Of course, he's a fantastic player, playing for Bayern Munich, of course, at the moment. He's a Spaniard. He's a class act, and you'd get him for so cheap, wouldn't you? 30-odd million. Is an absolute steal of a player of this sort of quality. And so if we can go in and get him, not only is that fantastic for us, but it sort of inhibits Liverpool from strengthening their squad as well, because obviously they're the front runners for Thiago at the moment. And so if they were to get him, regardless of whether he comes to us or not, that's going to be detrimental to us because they're going to strengthen significantly, and maybe it might lead to a sort of a falsehood in Gary Neville's prediction that we'll finish above of Liverpool next season. But we'll have to wait and see with that. As I said, Liverpool are front runners. Manchester United have apparently spoken to Thiago and his sort of agents and his side of things, but we haven't yet made contact with Bayern Munich, as opposed to where Liverpool, they have made contact with Bayern Munich. They have put a bid in. That bid hasn't currently been accepted, and Bayern Munich are still waiting for a higher bid, a better bid for the Spaniard. So I guess that means that they're front runners. It will literally just have to be a situation where we have to convince Thiago that our project is a more exciting and more prosperous one than the one that's going on under Jurgen Klopp. Now, he is 29, of course, and we can get into the discussion of whether he'd fit in the side and whether we need a player like that at the moment or not, and whether he fits in what Ole is trying to do. Obviously, we're signing a lot of young, mainly British players. I personally think he will. We'll get into that later. But regardless, I think for a player of his quality, 30 million euros, of course he'll come in on high wages, but I think it's a deal that needs to be done. Do I think it will be done? As I said, I don't. I think Liverpool will go in and get him. I think, as I said, they've been ahead of the deal for quite some time now, and I think if they were to let that deal go, I'd really worry about Liverpool, because then it would be Werner and Thiago that they've let go like that, and they've not really signed anyone this summer. So I really do think that they need to strengthen to continue to kick on from last season. But let's fingers crossed that doesn't happen. I hope you guys are all well. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's a Saturday morning. Of course, it's my morning show, so I greatly appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Everyone's saying, yay, it's Sander. Is this guy who used to wear the devil mask? No, that's Drawty Devil. So thank you, Drawty, for all the graphics you've done. They look fantastic. So everyone, big up Drawty. Your super chats are coming in now. He says, ignore the haters. Jack says, ignore the haters. Keep up the good work. Do you think McTominay will be tried as a centre-back now after his game? Now, well, thank you so for your super chat and your contribution. We will be talking about that later, so stay tuned. And Zane says, Arsenal project is now more promising. Well, I'd disagree with that. I think the transfer window, yes, the fact that we've only got Van der Beek so far might be slightly underwhelming for you. And it is for me, of course, and for Manchester United fans. But not only is that a great player, I do really believe that we'll go and kick on now. I think there's, exactly to the day, a month until the transfer window shuts. So we have got time. It's just I'd rather do the deals sooner rather than later. And Thiago is definitely one of them as well, because if we do leave it to October the 5th, obviously that's the deadline, that's the latest we can leave it, we would have already played 3 games by then. We would have played Palace, Brighton and Spurs. That's 9 points that you cannot drop, especially against the likes of Tottenham Hotspur. They're going to be competing for the positions that we are, top 4, we want to be ideally going for top 2, or really pushing those top 2, and so we cannot be affording to drop points in those games because we've left transfers too late. And again, Thiago is absolutely a deal that I want to see happen in the next couple of weeks' time. The internationals are slowly, rapidly coming to an end now. I think in the next couple of days will be the last fixtures, round of fixtures for the international sides. So when they do go through, when they are finished, I think we'll see a lot of transfers ramp up, including the Sancho deal and other things like that, because I think conclusions will be made when they are done, and talks will be had, and I think Thiago will definitely be amongst those talks. So what do you guys think of Thiago? Obviously there's this argument that we don't need another midfielder in the team, but for me, if you bring in Donny van der Beek and Thiago, there's a significant increase in quality there. You then get rid of Jesse Lingard and Andreas Pereira, and yet with the same amount of midfielders that we had before, only miles better. There's obviously the whole thing about Fred potentially going to Galatasaray. That might happen. I'd ideally want to see him stay at the club, but if we were to bring in Donny van der Beek and Thiago and Fred, Lingard and Pereira were to all leave to make space for those two, I'd have absolutely no concerns about that, because that is a significant, as I said, increase in quality, and that's what we want to see at Manchester United. There's the argument that bringing in Thiago and Van der Beek creates too much of a problem in midfield, in the fact that you've got too many players to even play. Well, we play with 3 in the midfield, so as I said, if you get rid of Jesse Lingard and Pereira, and even if you keep Fred, you play Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes and Matic, you've got, three proper midfielders on the bench. You then go, you're playing Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup, you're playing in 4 competitions. You're going to need to rotate. Injuries will come. So the fact that we've got 3 quality midfielders on the bench is by no means a concern for me at all. I think that's just standard, and it will create competition for places, and it will allow us to rotate effectively. So I'd be very excited about that Thiago deal if it were to go through. But as I said, I absolutely think that Liverpool will get him. They've been in the deal in talks with him and Bayern Munich for quite a while now. So if they weren't to get him, I think that would absolutely be concerning for Liverpool fans, because you need to strengthen. I mean, we know that, right? As Manchester United fans, we've won the league enough to know that you win the league and you kick on, you need to strengthen. And Liverpool haven't done that in the last couple of years. And so if they weren't to do it this season, I'd absolutely be concerned for them going into next season. But fingers crossed, we can go in and get him. So CAF says no Thiago, just a centre-back in Sancho. Listen, if we weren't to get Thiago and we were to get a centre-back in Sancho, I'd have no complaints either. We would have then got an attacking midfielder, and as you say, a right winger and a centre-back. You're addressing certain issues there. Now, there are still other problems in the team, potentially a left-back, and maybe strengthening the midfield as well. Some people would argue an out-and-out number 9 as well, but regardless, a centre-back, a right winger, and an attacking midfielder in the post-COVID era of the likes of, let's say, it's Sancho, Van der Beek, and, I don't know, Upamecano doesn't look like he's going to come, but someone like that, you're not going to be complaining about that whatsoever, are you? So I'd absolutely take a centre-back and Sancho alongside Donny van der Beek instead of Thiago. But listen, if the Thiago deal is there, let's go and do it. And the reports have been that there is there potentially to do, and that we have been speaking to Thiago and his agents, but not with Bayern Munich yet. Moving on from Thiago, on to Jadon Sancho, the man on all your lips. I think he's an exciting prospect, and he's the transfer. He is the transfer of the summer. Whether it happens or not, that will be the transfer of the summer. Whether he stays at Dortmund or not, that will be the news of the summer. Listen, Kai Havertz is a fantastic player. Timo Werner is a fact. You can talk about Chelsea's deals all you want. Manchester United is the biggest club in the world, and we make the most news, right? So if Sancho comes, don't be under any illusion that won't be the transfer of the summer, and it will be huge. It will be absolutely huge if it happens. Now, the updates on Jadon Sancho are that from James Cooper from Sky Sports, that it's not actually the fee, the transfer fee with Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. That's the Manchester United. That's the issue. It's actually the players' wages and specifically the transfer, the agents' fees as well that are quote-unquote outrageous. That's what James Cooper's reporting at Sky Sports, literally as we just before we went live. And so I think that's interesting. Now, personally, I've put my trust in Fabrizio Romano enough, and it be rewarded enough for me to once again believe Fabrizio Romano, put my trust in him once more, and believe that personal terms in the contract hasn't been an issue, and that it has been agreed for a little while now. 2025 is the reported contract until 2025. And so I believe Fabrizio Romano that Jadon Sancho wants to join Man United, and the personal terms have been agreed. However, where I can understand James Cooper slightly is the agent fees, because Fabrizio Romano hasn't talked about that, and I'm not actually sure who Jadon Sancho's agent is, but regardless, I can absolutely believe James Cooper, because James Cooper is a credible journalist, of course, so we do have to listen to what he says to a certain extent. He's been on the channel, I believe, and, we absolutely, we like to take other people's thoughts in and reports in, and James Cooper has said that it's the agent fees that would be the issue, and so if that is the case, it will just be a similar situation to the fee, wouldn't it? The transfer fee. Pay up. Pay up or you don't get him. I mean, there's obviously maybe more room for negotiation in the agent fees than there is for the actual transfer fee itself. But regardless, there's going to be a situation where Manchester United simply pay up. As Mark Goldbridge reported on the channel yesterday, apparently Manchester United, Ed Woodward, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are willing to walk away from the deal if it doesn't happen, if the requests, the demands from Borussia Dortmund and Jadon Sancho's team are too high. Would you guys want to see that happen? And obviously, from an idealistic fan point of view, you clearly think, listen, I'd like Manchester United to go in and sign him for 200 million if that's what it takes. But you've also got to think of Manchester United in a logistical, financial way, because even though that we don't like the way that the Glazers run the club, you know, it is, of course, a business, and it has to be self-sustaining, and it has to run, and it has to be, as I said, sustainable. So if Manchester United are going to get their pants pulled down by Borussia Dortmund and Jadon Sancho's agent, would you like to see us walk away? Or would you like to see us just be, you know, act like the big club that we truly are and go in and get him no matter what? Going to your super chats then, Zane says, Sander, Mark said he wouldn't swap Rashford for Salah. Rashford for Salah. Salah is world class and is the Egyptian Messi. Why does everyone rate Rashford? He's Spurs standard, not United or Arsenal. Now, Zane, thanks for your contribution, pal. We absolutely appreciate it. I was speaking to my friend, who I'll actually reference a little bit later. He's a big football fan, Barcelona fan. And when the whole thing about Messi came out, I said, we would just talk about, you know, would you sign Messi, etc., at Manchester United? Now, obviously, that's not going to happen. But he said, would you swap Mason Greenwood for Messi, or would you give up Mason Greenwood in a deal? I said, no, mate, no. I wouldn't do it. Messi's the best player in the world, right? Forget Salah. Messi. I wouldn't swap Mason Greenwood for Messi. Now, I know you're sort of referencing Rashford rather than Mason Greenwood, but Mason Greenwood will never be as good as Lionel Messi. No one will ever be as good as Lionel Messi, and if you are, well done. You're the new best player that's ever lived, right? But that doesn't matter. You don't have to be as good as Lionel Messi or better to have a fantastic career. If Mason Greenwood does it at Manchester United, you could have a star on your hands for 15 years. That would be unbelievable. So, as I said, I wouldn't swap Mason Greenwood for Messi. And on those lines, I wouldn't swap Marcus Rashford for Mohamed Salah. I wouldn't. He might never be as good as Salah was that one season, by the way. But that doesn't matter. If you're chipping in as a left winger with 25 goals a season, and your right winger, i.e. Mason Greenwood or Jadon Sancho, is tripping in 20-25 goals, and your striker, i.e. Anthony Martial or Mason Greenwood, is chipping in with 20-25 goals, that's far better than having Messi on 50 goals and no one else on any significant number, because everyone's just playing it towards Messi. Because if Messi gets injured, which he hasn't done too much, then you're screwed. Or, do you know what I mean? I like the idea that we're spreading the goals along the team. And for everyone commenting that, yes, it was Jorge. You guys are familiar with him now. So, yes, it was him. And we'll talk about him later. But let me read a couple of your comments out. Jez says, I could be as good as Messi if I wasn't so dedicated to plumbing and heating. 50% off this month for all United standards. So, there's your little deal there, guys. Some free promotion from Jez Bish. And, of course, we all know about the up-and-coming, you hear of the likes of, Ravel Morrison, and Sir Alex Ferguson said he's one of the best young players that he's ever seen at Manchester United, and it's just, his work ethic and other sort of external factors that have, prohibited him from having the career that his talent would allow him to. And Jez Bish, I think we're all very certain that Jez Bish is along the same lines as that. I think it was Pep Guardiola, that said that Jez Bish at Barcelona was one of the best players he's ever seen in the world, and obviously he decided to take up plumbing, and so that stopped his career. But absolutely, Jez Bish, top player. We've all heard that. Wiggy says, exactly, it's a team game. Yep. Type 7 for CR7. There you go. Marcus Rashford says, Zayn, shush. Now, we love Zayn, right? We do love Zayn in the comments, but shush. He turned out okay. People just tweeting or coming in with some random comments. We love that. We love your interaction with each other as well as myself. We'll move on then from Jadon Sancho onto Reguilon. I actually asked Jorge how to say Reguilon because I thought it was Reguilon, but it's Reguilon. Apparently Manchester United are in for the player for a fee of around 25 to 30 million. That is what Real Madrid want for the Spanish left back, young player. According to Jorge, who of course is a big Barcelona fan, he watches a lot of La Liga. He says that he's very good going forward, a little bit like, our left backs that we've got at the moment, Brandon Williams and Luke Shaw, are very good going forward, but apparently defensively, he's slightly suspect, or maybe suspect isn't the right word, but weaker than he is going forward. For a left back, of course, he's a left back by trade. He's, if he was better going forward than he was defensively, he'd be a left winger. But he's slightly better going forward. Apparently, he's very exciting. He's young. He's very, very fast as well, and so Jorge reckons it would be a good deal. So I'm open to it. What do you guys think? Do we need a new left back? That's the only issue. I think a lot of us are big fans of Luke Shaw. A lot of us aren't as well. So I guess it's where you stand on the Luke Shaw thing that would dictate whether we need a new left back or not. I've seen Rants tweeting out that we do need him. Obviously, he's not a big fan of Luke Shaw, but regardless of what you think of Luke Shaw, I think the development of Brandon Williams will be influential on how on what we do with the Reguilon deal, because I've seen Mark Goldbridge and even myself have said that, because he's so right-footed, we see him potentially playing on the right-hand side, as right back, as backup or a rotation player for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And so that is definitely an option, in which case we've got no backup to Luke Shaw. And if we all know Luke Shaw's his injury records, we'll absolutely need another left back in that situation. So it really does, I think, depend on what you first of all think of Luke Shaw, and second of all think Brandon Williams' best position is. Because if you think it's on the right-hand side, as I said, then Reguilon would be a great deal. We saw David De Gea, with him in the Spanish team taking selfies. Now, of course, I don't see anything in that. Like, he's Spanish, he's in the changing room with him, he's friends with him, whatever. But it was just a little tease, wasn't it? It was just a little tease. David De Gea and the players won't be oblivious to the idea that Reguilon's being linked to Manchester United. It might not be in the forefront of his mind when he's taking the selfie, but they will know about it. And so, read into that whatever you will, but he did post a photo with him and tag him in it. So I'll take some of your comments now. People saying, yes, we need him. Archie says, Jesse Lynch was better than Messi. Best on the ball player in Arsenal's academy, of course, during the Invincible season. We all know that. Luke Shaw is the GOAT. Jake Perkins says, a lot of Luke Shaw fans. Ethan Laird, boys, yeah. I think Ethan Laird's a shout as well, because he, of course, he's a young player, but he got one or two opportunities last season, and so maybe if Brandon Williams was to move over to right back, that might inhibit sort of his ability to get into the first team. Ethan Laird, that is. So, we'll have to wait and see. I think it's up to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course. I'm not the Manchester United manager, so I can only speculate. Brandon, back up for Aaron Wan-Bissaka is what Euler thinks. Coach Lawrence says, I love Luke Shaw, but he can't play a full season. Agreed. I think that is a huge issue with Luke Shaw, and so we need to, regardless of who it is, we need a backup for Luke Shaw, because I think on his day, Luke Shaw is such a fantastic player. We saw that towards the latter stages of last season, but he simply can't play a full season, and so I think Reguilon, or whether it be Reguilon or Brandon Williams, as I said, we need someone there that can cover him or replace him when needs be. So, if Brandon Williams is obviously more of a right-hand-sided player, and if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sees him that way, bring in Reguilon. 25 to 30 million isn't a bad fee, and so, see how it goes. Let's move on from Reguilon then onto this man, Chris Smalling. By the way, I'm loving the graphics. Drawty Devil, thank you so much for the graphics, pal. Everything that you do for the United Stand, but especially these graphics, these new ones here, they look fantastic, as does the thumbnail. So, on to Chris Smalling. Apparently, Roma have come in with a bid for Chris Smalling, a new bid. Obviously, there's been talks between Roma and Manchester United for some time now over the future sale of permanent deal for Chris Smalling. Progressing on from that loan that he was there last season. Apparently, Roma have come in with a bid of very close to the Manchester United's €20 million evaluation, and so that suggests that a deal is very close. Sky Sports have actually said that a deal is very close, and that this deal will be happening in the very, very near future. Of course, he isn't away on internationals, so I think that says something about whether you want him at Manchester United or not. I know Ricky's a big fan, but regardless, I don't think he should be playing for Manchester United. Listen, I've got nothing against the guy. I think he's probably a good player for Roma, but regardless of what he would be like in the Premier League, he doesn't suit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's style of play. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer requires his centre-backs to play out from the back. We've seen that time and time again, which is why I think he brought in Harry Maguire, because obviously not only is he a player of high quality defensively and spatially, but on the ball he's fantastic as well. And Lindelof, you could be said the same. And so Smalling doesn't fit into that for me. Apparently the only thing that's stopping Smalling to Roma permanently at the moment, and I'm sure this will get done, is that Chris Smalling's asking for a 4-year contract, but Roma are only actually currently offering a 3-year contract. And so obviously Chris Smalling's coming towards the end of his career, and this will probably be his last big contract, and so he's trying to secure the bag for an extra year, which I completely understand, but I don't see that being an issue. None of the reports are that would be an issue, and so I would absolutely expect this to be a deal that goes through over the next couple of days. As I said, it wouldn't be sort of international fixture dependent, because he's not playing with England at the moment, and so yeah, I think this will happen very, very soon. So what do you guys think of that? Smalling is better than Maguire, Killian says. See, this is the thing, I get a lot of stick about my facial expressions in the background of that Ricky video, where Ricky says that Smalling's better than Maguire, Darmian's better than Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Fellaini's a better on-the-ball player than Fred. And yeah, he said those things. And I've got nothing against Ricky as a bloke. He seems like a very nice man. We've had some interaction. But that seems mental to me. That seems absolutely mental. Darmian's not a better right back than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's not. Darmian was poor going forward, and defensively, he was okay at times, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka is one of the best defensive fullbacks in the world right now. I honestly believe that. Of course, you've got the likes of Trent, Robertson, Alphonso Davies, but they're fantastic going forward. I think defensively, there's none better at the moment than Aaron Wan-Bissaka, or very few. And so I don't think Darmian was better than him. I don't think Chris Smalling's a better centre-back than Harry Maguire. Listen, I'm not saying he's a bad player at all, but what I am saying is that Maguire's, there's levels, I think, personally, and regardless of whether you on the quality, Harry Maguire suits Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's style of play more. We've seen Chris Smalling just have an absolute inability to play the ball from out the back. That's why he didn't get into the England squad. He was always in the England squad, but then when Gareth Southgate came in and he wanted to play the ball out the back, the likes of John Stones and Harry Maguire and these sorts of players that have the capability of using their feet, to play the ball, naturally, not just to walk. You saw Chris Smalling drop out at that point, and I think that will go the same the same goes for Chris Smalling at Manchester United. And so that's my personal opinion, of course. I'm absolutely open to your personal opinions. Ihab says Matteo Darmian more defensively than Wan-Bissaka. I think you're saying he's better defensively than Wan-Bissaka. Well, I just can't agree. I refuse to agree. I get so much stick for that video where I'm giving it all this and all that. Like I get so much stick for it because I'm in the background just basically mugging him off or just dismissing his opinions. But I can't help but just have this inability to understand how Darmian's a better fullback than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I can't see it. I can't see it. And if he was, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for some reason got it right, he'd be playing at Real Madrid, or he'd be playing at Bayern, top the elite. Where is he? Where is Darmian? I just don't see it. And the same goes for Fellaini and Fred. If he was a better on the ball player than Fred, he wouldn't be playing in China. He wouldn't be playing in China. Do you know, I just don't see it personally. But listen, I'm open to your guys' opinions, and if it's contrary to mine, then, we've all got different opinions, so that's absolutely fine as well. Akil says, Adama Traore is better for Manchester United. Now, a couple of weeks ago, my friend said to me that we should sign Adama Traore, not Jadon Sancho, which I disagreed with. I think Adama Traore, this is a controversial opinion, but I think he lacks that final ball slightly at times, and he's a fantastic athlete, but I worry about his final ball sometimes a little bit like Daniel James. I think he's better than Daniel James, but I think he has those sort of similar tendencies. But absolutely, I would not go with Adama Traore over Jadon Sancho. Now, if you can't get Jadon Sancho in, do you not sign him and wait for Jadon Sancho next season, where he might not come anyway? I just don't think you signed Adama Traore, to be fair, but that's just me. Himanashu says, hey Sanders, Donny van de Beek done. I think Sancho and Thiago will be a successful window for us. Then next window we can focus on a centre-back and number 9 as Badashile and Upamecano are not available this summer. What do you think? Fine by me. If we sign, as you say, Donny van de Beek, Sancho and Thiago this summer, fine. Listen, you saw Liverpool the season before they went on to win the league. Fantastic, and even before they brought in Van Dijk, Great front three. That was never an issue. The front three was never an issue, and the attack was never an issue. They were doing some things, they were doing well, but the attack was never an issue. They brought in Van Dijk, bang. Secures up the defence, lovely. We love it. You know what I mean? They win the league. Manchester United, I think, can go and do the similar thing. You strengthen the midfield and the attack to the point where it's impenetrable in the sense that it's so good that no one can come into the squad. You go and bring in a Upamecano next season, bang, you make that difference. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what I think. I think you don't have to do it all in one transfer window. And people are saying that Chelsea have done it all in one transfer window, and that, I saw a tweet saying, we've been fed these lies that you can't rebuild in one transfer window. Look at what Chelsea are doing. Now, of course, they've made some fantastic signings, but making loads of signings doesn't always work. And I think Thiago Silva's a very old man at this point, and their issues were defensively. Obviously, they brought in Ben Chilwell, but he's suspect defensively as well. So, Kai Havertz is no doubt in. Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech are fantastic players, but signing strikers to secure up a dodgy defence isn't the way to go. So I would just be cautious on that whole Chelsea rebuild. There's no doubt in that if they go and properly strengthen with some, long-lasting centre-backs in January or next summer, then I'd agree that they're signing the right players. But what was their issue this season? The defence. And who have they signed? Strikers. So I'd be worried. I'm not completely convinced with that. Chelsea have no defence, I agree. Paul Palmer says Aaron Wan-Bissaka, best tackler on the planet. I mean, you just can't get past him. It's silly. It's absolutely silly. Even January, they also saved the money from the ban. Sorry, I was just checking a text there from Mr. Draughty Devil. Let's hope Mason is doing the business with Sancho. If Rashford wasn't injured, they could have both been on at him. Yep, I'd love a new contract. Jesse Lingard says he loves a new contract. Well, unfortunately, Jesse, I'm not so keen on giving that one to you. We'll move on from this Chris Smalling onto this man, Donny van de Beek. How happy are we? How happy are we that he signed for Manchester United? I'm gassed. I'm over the moon. You saw Muppets like Paul Merson and other people like that in the media saying that Donny van de Beek was a panic buy. I think that's why we've got him in the slide today, because I want to touch on that slightly. Panic buy, my bloody arse. He's not a panic buy whatsoever. I mean, listen, we all saw towards the end of last season when Pogba and Bruno were dead on their feet because they had to play every single game, because if they didn't, it was Jesse Lingard or Andreas Pereira. When Bruno was dead on his feet and couldn't really go out and create anything and the passes weren't working, we went to bits. We fell to bits. We crumbled, right? We can't afford for that to happen next season. That was in 6 months, well, from January to May or August, Next season is going to be a full season. There's going to be so many games. And so we need strengthening. If Paul Pogba's position isn't in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's minds, that central attacking midfielder role, that number 10, then who comes in instead of Bruno? Donny van de Beek. So I don't know what Paul Merson is chirping about. I don't know what he's giving it that. It's not a panic buy in any way, shape or form. And the idea that Manchester United, a huge global entity, a corporate entity, one of the biggest clubs in the world, would simply go, oh yeah, we need to sign someone. Let's go into transfer negotiations for a £40 million deal and just dish out £40 million for a bit of good PR. Come on, that doesn't make sense. If it was 15 million quid, I'd say, okay, I can see how that would happen. It's 40 million, it's not a small deal. And so he's absolutely not a panic buy, and I think he'll prove to be a great signing. I think the idea that he can fit in with Bruno and Pogba, that is still up in the air. I'm open to it. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thinks that's a midfield that can work, I'm open to it. But you heard Donny van de Beek in the announcement saying he's a player that likes to get into the box and score goals. Bruno likes to get in the box and score goals. Pogba likes to get in the box and score goals. Now, what does that mean? A lot of goals. What does that mean? A lot of space in behind. So we'll have to wait and see. Whether that works or not. I'm open to it, as I said. But if that isn't the case, and if he doesn't fit all three into one midfield, then that's fine as well. Because people think that you have 1-11 and that's it. You have one team and they're the only team that plays. But you have a number of starting teams. Jorge said to me, he wouldn't want to come in and not start. Yeah, okay, he might sit on the bench on the first game of the season, but then 3 days later, or when in the FA Cup or in the Champions League, we've got City after on the weekend, for example, and we've got a Champions League game midweek, he then starts. as far as I'm concerned, you have a number of starting 11s, and you shouldn't, as I said, you shouldn't have a second best team. You should simply have an alternative team. Because when we saw us put our second best team out in the FA Cup semi-final when we needed to rest players, we lost. We bottled it because the players aren't good enough, right? Ultimately costing us a trophy. If you have an equally good team, an alternate team, you put that team out against Chelsea, you rest players, you go out and win the FA Cup, because I don't think Arsenal stop us if we put our first team out in that sense, or an equivalent quality team, you know? So that's what I think. Jordan Vlog says, Pogba as a CDM or Van der Beek bench. Not sure what you mean there. Thanks for your contribution anyway, pal. Thanks for the super chat. We really do appreciate it. Dels Totters says, Donny last night, always asking for the ball, pointing to a pass, looking forward to see him play for us. Absolutely. Obviously, I'm Dutch, so I was happy with the win last night against Poland. He obviously didn't start. He played sort of the last 20, 25 minutes, and so. But it was good to see him play regardless, wasn't it? I'm just excited to see him, getting a Manchester United shirt officially and play at Old Trafford for us. Now, what you do have to take into consideration is the fact that he's not played since, March? Because the Dutch League got cancelled. The Dutch League didn't continue in May. And so he hasn't played a competitive match until last night, So that might be an issue. We might have to sort of bed him in and let him get back to full fitness as time goes on. So I don't think he'll start the first game of the season at all. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. A little bit more subdued at times. And listen, of course, Thiago is the man that we all want to see sign for Manchester United. There he is. And then we want to see this man sign for Manchester United. And then this man. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show today. I'll see you guys potentially at some point midweek, if not next Saturday morning. So thank you guys all for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Ta-da.